Welcome back to another exciting episode of Mortgages Uncensored by the Clover Mortgage team. Today we're joined by two special guests. One, our very own mortgage agent, Jess Singh, who's going to talk about her experience as a young first-time home buyer. And the reason for that is I keep getting questions and people asking me, as first-time home buyers, is now a good time? Should they wait? What's involved? What's the process? What should they look for? And we're all getting those questions, and we're talking to people every day. Our second special guest is going to help us dive deep into a very hot topic now in the mortgage industry and in all industries, but specifically for mortgages, the topic of technology and more specifically, the use of AI. Is it a gimmick? Is it helpful? Is it going to replace us someday, or is it going to help us become more effective at our jobs? So here to join us for that will be Kate Henderson, VP of Broker Experiences from Newton Velocity. Touch upon some of those points, talk about what Velocity is doing to help and where the future of AI is headed for the mortgage space. So Kate, before we talk about AI, tell us about your role at Velocity in Broker Experience.
For sure. So I've been with Newton for 20 years. I moved out to Canada. You can tell probably from the accent that I wasn't born here, but I moved out to Canada in the late 1990s. I was a technical writer. I was a business analyst. I moved into mortgages, mainly on the lender side of the business, did everything technical. And then last year moved into the broker side of the business with Newton. So a lot of the focus for me right now is the day-to-day. So everything that we do on the platform, talking to our broker clients, still talking to our lender clients, finding out things that they'd like to see, things that the market needs, all the changes that you need for regulation. So some of it's kind of the fun stuff. And then some of it is more regulatory and making sure that everything that we do follows the right procedures and the rules and everything else. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
And I guess, what do you find to be some of the sticking points right now for mortgage agents and for lenders when it comes to the use of the technology, the use of AI? What are they finding most troublesome? Is it the data collection? Is it,
I think sometimes you have to look at AI in terms of how can it provide value to you. So AI for a lot of people, it either falls into one of two camps. It's either something that's kind of really scary for those new people that haven't used it a ton, or it's something where you're a little bit worried that it's going to take over your job or it's going to take over everything that you do on a day-to-day basis. And neither of those is a big thing. Like neither of those is something to be worried about. I think if you're a new agent, start with really simple AI pieces. So use it for your marketing, use it to do some lead generation, use it to arrange meetings for you, use it to do communication with your clients. So things like that could be really, really helpful. They don't change the fact that you're building a relationship with your clients. They're just helping you to do it in a more efficient way, to do it more quickly, to do it in a much, much more streamlined way. And then as you get better and better with AI, you can start using it for analytics. So some of the things that we're doing at the moment is we're looking at, for example, if I'm a broker and I'm sending a deal to a particular lender and my client is, let's say, high risk or, high GDS, TDS, high LTV, we behind the scenes now have the ability to know, okay, based on this client, based on what they're looking for, what's the likelihood that that client's going to get approved at this particular lender? So that's kind of where it's going.
okay.
So there's a lot of steps between, day one and day 100, but that's our goal long term, is to make it so that it's streamlined for you, for the client, for the lender, get the approvals done more quickly and do them the right way.
Interesting. Now, when you're suggesting that it kind of handles or helps out with the day-to-day interaction or the early stages, booking appointments, when interacting with clients from an AI standpoint, do you find it's advanced enough now to do it smoothly? Because in the past, I know there's been hallucinations and issues with AI saying, let's say it, weird shit to clients and to people. So, is it to say that those bugs have generally been ironed out, or there's certain tools that are better at it? Or is it still like how would you handle that?
I think that AI is great when you use it the right way. So my recommendation is never use the stuff that's free. Because when you use something that's free, you know that it's not going to be the
You get what you
best.
pay for, basically.
Exactly. So, if you're looking at using AI, buy a license, like get an account with, ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude. Use one of the ones which has a lot of history, there's a lot of security behind it. And once you've set it up for yourself, it can become like an assistant to you. So, yes, it's true that, the better data you put in, the better the experience is going to be and the better the stuff that comes out. But I think start with the right tool in the beginning and you're kind of off to a good start that way.
So that's a good point. You mentioned Claude, you mentioned Chat, Gemini. Isn't there a privacy concern with uploading documents and client information onto those, even the paid versions? Isn't that information then used potentially for teaching models, and it's not privately held? It doesn't follow the PEPITA Act?
That's a really, really good question. And it's one that we do get asked a lot. And that's really why we say when you're going to look into using AI for your business, stay away from the free ones because the
But even the
chat
paid version of Chat or Claude.
so the paid versions of Chat and Claude and Gemini, those kind of things, there are privacy settings in there where you can say this data that I'm passing to it, these documents, the analytics that I'm asking it to do, don't let this AI agent that I'm working with, don't train it. Like don't let it use this information so that it can, pass it out into the ether or compare it to other things. There are privacy settings that it's good to know. There are privacy settings within the tools where you can say, okay, don't let this be used for training and education of this AI agent. Don't let this private information out into the sphere. So as much as possible, and even these providers, these AI providers, they have warranted that if you set it up correctly, if you check off the check marks that say don't train this, don't use this for this purpose, then they have warranted that none of that information is going to get out there. So
Okay, that's good. Now,
yeah.
it's also important for any brokers or agents out there looking to implement any kind of AI or third-party technology to make sure that the brokerage's policies and procedures allow for that. And furthermore, that the privacy policy of the brokerage, the public-facing one, whether it's on their website or wherever the case may be, includes and covers third-party software, especially AI, because as Kate mentioned, there are some check marks that you could use to make sure that it's not used for building and training of the platform. However, as someone who's built AI in different platforms internally for our brokerage, through the PEPITA Act, we need to get certain agreements and contracts from those third-party companies, their privacy distribution, the DPA, and so forth, data protection agreements, and we have to sign it with them and enter agreements with them. So if you're just willy-nilly using a paid version of Chat or Claude, you might still be breaching the PEPITA Act if you haven't followed all the steps required. And there are some serious steps there.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is making sure that you're disclosing it at the beginning of the transaction. So it's okay if you're marketing out to leads and you're getting people interested. As soon as you start to form the basis of a relationship with that client, it's really important that you disclose to them if you're using AI and to what degree you're using it. What are you going to be using it for? So it's similar to the castle side of things. The client really has to opt in. They have to opt in to know that potentially the communication maybe that you're doing with them could be something that's, using AI to generate messaging. So I think to your point, stay on side with regulators, stay on side with privacy, and just make sure that your clients are fully aware before they come through the front door.
Good point. So bottom line, anybody out there, and I see this, I hear other agents talking to me, yeah, we just use Claude. We just use Chat. We put all our income docs in it and ask for a summary. We put appraisals in there. Appraisals contain private identifiable information that if you let that out, you're breaching the Privacy Act and exposing yourself and your brokerage to heavy, heavy penalties by Pepita and other privacy organizations, potential lawsuits. So before doing that, speak to your principal broker, um, speak with a technology service provider, reach out to me. I'm happy to have the chat with you. Kate's here. She's happy to help.
Absolutely.
Velocity has some great tools. Do you want to give us some more insights on, I guess, what Velocity is doing from an AI standpoint to help their brokers? We use Velocity. It's a phenomenal tool.
Absolutely. No, thank you. I mean, AI, when we started to put AI into the system, we wanted it to be something that was going to be meaningful. So to your point, we were quite serious about how we were going to do it, how the experience was going to work for the client, how it was going to work for the broker, and how the lender might receive it as well. So the two things that we've already built in and they've been running for quite a while is all around communication. So the AI we use today is used for communication between the broker and the client. Like that's the first one. And it's pretty simple the way that it works. It basically just helps the client to understand what the steps are with the mortgage, if there's any information or documents that the broker's looking for. It just kind of helps to guide them. And you can set it up so that it can be, very short, very concise. You can set it up almost to mimic your personality in terms of the way that it talks to the client, which I love. So that's probably the first piece that we did. The second piece is communication with the lender. So we've gone broker to client, now we're going broker to lender. So we've built another piece of AI into the system that is a lot more detailed, and it will look at the deal itself and it will pull out the fundamental pieces of the deal. It'll put them into a note form. It'll add a little bit of color around them, and then you can add a little bit of your own information in there. Maybe there are things that you can see might be exceptions from a lender perspective, and you can add in your comments, and it basically formats it in a great way, and that provides then your submission notes for your lender. So that exists today. That's something that people use. People love it. It's great.
And it's a very helpful part of it.
It's good for a couple of reasons. It's good for kind of newer brokers who want to learn how lenders want to see the information come in, but it's also really good if you're handling a lot of business.
Exactly.
You can say, okay, for this particular file, just give me the basics, and it'll lay it out in such a great way. Then you just need to add your notes, and then it's good to send. And it's a really good way of doing it. But like I said, I mean, this is just the starting point. So, I mean, if a couple of the things that we're working on at the moment, one of them is we're working with a third-party company that does document verification. So, fairly well known in the industry, PureLend, few people already use them today. So what we're working with them on is at the point of document collection. So you're getting the docs in from your clients. They'll be able to analyze them. We'll be able to run some AI against that and say, okay, based on the fact that you've said, John Smith earns this amount of money, here's his job letter. Let's validate that against the deal and see, does this make sense?
It's actually really great. It's funny you should mention that because we've tried out different platforms and we found that everyone is lacking. So we've actually built our own internal income document analyzer where agents are able to upload bank statements and income documents, and it's only available to our Clover agents. I'm not building a platform to sell. I'm building a platform to use.
I was just about to ask you that question. Is this something that you're interested in?
Yeah, this is great.
I mean, this is...
With Velocity, everything is in one. So now if you use different platforms, then you have to get on the different platform to do that. But with Velocity, everything is in one.
Ours will also have an API at some point that connects in. So it's perfect. It ties in very well.
100%. I think this for us...
It saves hours of agents' time filtering through bank statements.
That's what we heard.
Different things. It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we have a great innovations lab within DLCG. And when you were talking this morning about AI and the people that are building stuff with AI, we probably get, 20 calls from technology companies a week saying, okay, I've built this really great AI tool, really want to integrate it. So, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are building things today.
Yep.
So we have to kind of go through the process and work out, how secure is it? Like, what's the privacy like? Where's the data
How simple
stored?
is it to use?
How simple is it to use? Things like that. So we go through quite a process with that. And I have to say, the document verification and, being able to wade through vast amounts of information and, like accounting.
In minutes instead of hours.
Awesome. And I would say that's the thing for AI. That's what it does really well. is it finds patterns, it summarizes data, it does things that are repeatable. And really, that's where they're great today. I think there's so much more that we could do with them, but I think for now, like, that side of it is great. And then, in the future, what I would say, I mean, more towards what I was talking about earlier, is we want to get to a point with, in Velocity, we see, what do we see? Maybe 30,000 deals a month go to our platform. So we see a ton of data. And so we have a pretty good angle on, for the data that's coming in on a daily basis or a monthly basis, we can look at trends in the market before some people see that they're coming. So we can see trends in terms of maybe some lenders who are offering specials in a particular area. We can look at areas, provinces or towns or regions where maybe some type of deal is, or some type of product is more popular at a given point in time. So we can look and we can predict things that are happening in the market really quickly. And we can also see for our lender partners, if they're putting out specials and things like that, we can see how successful they are when they put them out. So I think that's something that we'll be able to do a little bit more of in the future, by kind of connecting our brokers to our lenders in a much more seamless kind of, I'd say, strategic way, to say, okay, maybe you haven't considered this particular lender, but as I said, but based on the deal that you're doing, when you're looking to close, the kind of clients that you have, maybe consider this lender instead, because we've seen a 95% approval rate for this kind of deal. Like, that's what we're capable of. We're not there yet, but I think that's where we're going.
Yeah, that's great. Another tool that we've built that's been very useful is an appraisal analyzer. It saves our agents between 20 to 40 minutes a file. That's a lot of time. There's so many ways to utilize AI to help us be more productive, be more effective, be more profitable. And by the same token, if we're working quicker with less mistakes, it translates to a much better experience to the customers.
Yeah.
It's going to increase referrals. There's ways to automate referral requests. There's so many uses of AI that we're exploring personally. And, with the help of Velocity, what they're already building, it just works so nicely together.
Well, you nailed it really too. I mean, it's all about less mistakes. Because, I mean, as human
Does that
beings,
delay a deal or kill a deal? If you miss on an appraisal report in, page 30 of 45 or page 15 of 26, let's get real. Most brokers, and I've been guilty of this in the past as well, everyone has at some point in their career, some do it exclusively, they just look for the dollar value. Yeah, appraisal came in. Great, it's $1.2 million.
The magic word is time, right? It's time. All of this has been implemented to reduce time, given the fact that today's transactions take a lot more time than complete. Since 20 years ago when I started, there was no Velocity. There was only one platform. Was Morty, was analog. You had to take 10 minutes just to get connected to the platform. And it was only one page. You had no lenders. You had to know your lenders off your head, right? And then you had to email the application after you had submitted. It would take about 15 minutes for the submission to go through. You see the lights, 1, 2, 3, the lights are going. So after that, it's been significant improvements in terms of platforms. And then FileLogix and Expert was the
next generation.
The next generation.
And then FileLogix became a dinosaur, then they bought another company, then Velocity,
and now
Venmo, all these options.
Yeah, and now Velocity is like your major hub for all of this, where you take AI plus other things that are involved in there to reduce time. When you reduce time in terms of submissions and finding lenders and products, before we had about 10 products, now we have over 350 products. What AI does in the Velocity platform is just simplifies that. You find the lender, you can do all of that in matter of minutes, do your AML and do your submission notes. But it's important to know, I think, even though AI makes everything easier and less time, I think brokers still have to have the knowledge of prescribing solutions or knowing what's behind the deal, and then AI makes it very easier. So the question people ask me all the time is, AI is going to take over the brokers. What's going to happen? Brokers are going to be out of business. We're just going to go online, get mortgages. I think AI will significantly improve the way brokers are transacting, but however, clients will still need an emotional factor within their decision making when it comes to mortgages. So if you ask me, I want to buy coffee online, you don't have to go to coffee shop, you just buy coffee and they will just deliver it to you. You have to talk to nobody and AI will do it. I agree. But if you're refinancing your home, or you're separating, or you're in a bad shape financially and you want to pay off debts, you need an emotional support in terms of a broker to actually break down the deal for you and then do the transaction. So I think for all the brokers out there that think that AI will take us out, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. It's going to make it easier actually for us to do transactions, but I think still borrowers need that emotional, physical appearance of a broker to get their deal done.
It's honestly, it's all about relationships. And that's something that AI is never going to be able to replicate.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like
I mean, our business is all
sitting here like
relationships.
this.
Yes.
Like nobody's ever going to be able to repeat this just using AI.
It's too complex of a process. Too much is at stake. It's not like investing stocks. You could do that online. You could do that with the help of AI, but the mortgage process is so convoluted and there's so many nuances and so much personal information that clients would like to share it with an individual they trust, who can then help them navigate. It's our job to help the clients navigate to the right customized solution. And getting back to my point about the appraisals, there's so many brokers that just look at the dollar value. And if it's good, great, they submit to the lender. The problem is, by doing that, you miss pertinent information. Even if you read through the entire appraisal, you might miss something as small as 3 black dots discovered on the roof of the cold room, recommended mold inspection for a purchase or for a refi. You miss that, and guess what? The underwriter might miss it, and everyone might miss it until the audit or the fulfillment officer looks at it 2-3 days before closing and says, oh, we can't close without this report. Do you have this mold inspection? And then you're scrambling. The deal gets delayed. Clients are upset. You're upset. There's so many, the lender's upset. There's so many issues that can arise. The tool that we built picks out all the red flags and explains it to you. And there's, again, like you said, and like I said before, and like you mentioned, avoiding those mistakes, will help for a better client experience, will help reduce your stress and our stress as brokers, and will help get more deals funded. You're going to miss less deals.
Give you more time. I think that's the thing. And that's the way that you have to approach AI. Like it's going to help you to bring in more business. It's going to help you be more efficient. But really, it's going to give you more time for the relationship side of things.
Again, you're absolutely right. It's going to help you. It's not it's not a final answer.
It's not going to replace
a final solution.
It won't do all the work
with your appraisal thing. So to prove that point, it's helping. It's not the answer. So we're not going to put that appraisal. So if you send an AI appraisal right now to the lender, they're not going to accept. You're sending a physical appraiser to the property, does the appraisal, they accept it, but there might be issues. So now AI is coming in where you helped build that tool. It's complementing the physical appraiser plus AI together. Now you get a final product which is perfect. You find out what the problems or issues are in the appraisal.
You mitigate it.
You take it, you mitigate it, take it back to the appraisal. Now you have a product that is suitable for a lender. So it's actually, we're seeing the both complementing each other. None of them by itself. I mean, both with themselves together work really well. None of them are going to be able to work by themselves alone going forward.
That's true. And it's actually helped some of our brokers bring certain key elements up to an appraiser that either they missed, they got wrong, and it helped increase the appraised value by tens of thousands of dollars in several occasions. So, AI helps with it can help with so many ways if used properly. Of course, like you, all of our platforms are built using the privacy and Pepita's requirements. We get all the DPA agreements from the vendors, and it's on secure servers,
Super
Canadian
important.
servers.
Yeah.
So it's a whole process. Again, just paying the $49 or even $149 to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini and checking off certain checkboxes still doesn't mean you're fully Pepita compliant.
Yeah, make sure, like, as I said, I mean, you can't stress it enough. Make sure that your client's aware all the way through the transaction. Like, I mean, disclosure is so important. And I think it's funny because the way that you've positioned it too, in terms of any AI or tech that you use is complementary to what you're doing. Honestly, I think that's the perfect word for it, because it's not something that's going to take over. It's something that is kind of sitting at the side of you to do the things that are manual, the checks and balances, the details. I love that. I think that's exactly what it's made for. That's
Yeah,
what
I
it's
mean,
really
if you're
good
going
at.
to use it based on, okay, now I'm not going to do anything else, I'm going to let AI take
Can't do
over,
that.
it's not going to happen.
You're
Yeah,
gonna lose
good
a lot
luck.
of deals
Think that
because
way.
of a lot
Some
of
people
clients.
think that way, but I think if you complement the two together, if you have the knowledge of how to do brokering, it makes your relationship with the lenders much easier. They find the product. Like Velocity has done an amazing job in terms of you just find your lenders, find your products right there. This has significantly reduced the time of the brokers trying to figure out where they're going to send their deals. So we're going to take the good out of it, complement what you're doing, and it will take less time for you to do the transaction. You move on to the next one. But again, if you're just going to be focusing on, it's okay, I'm going to let AI choose my product, do my submission notes, it just doesn't work that way. You still have to let him know, let it know what is it that you're looking for it to complement what you're doing.
Yeah, you can't take out the human element.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is as well, like it's moved really fast. To your point
Yes,
around
it will.
Morty and
Yeah.
like the early days of
Yes,
transactions.
we're still learning after 20
You
years.
said email. In the back of my mind, I was thinking, oh, this was like faxes and writing
Faxes,
things up.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
think about where we've come in a really short period of time.
Yes.
And then even AI, the fact that it's come in fairly recently, and
Yes.
look at what it's done already. Like
Yeah.
there's so much that it can do.
Yeah, even like I started 20 years ago, but even 5 years ago, FileLogix was a very basic platform, 2-3 pages of just put in your information and send it.
Yeah.
Now, with all this stuff we have on Velocity, we have communications with borrowers, the client experience, for example, right? You choose a borrower, their emails go out with Gold Rush, with lead generations, AIs asking questions, behaviors, finding lenders, finding products. It's just amazing. I mean, and this is not 20, 30 years, this is the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's moved quickly, really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the AI wars now between the platforms.
It
You,
really is.
platforms.
Finmo,
Yeah.
the FileLogix
Expert,
Pro,
yeah.
Yeah. Expert.
Expert
yeah.
Pro.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the three big ones
Scarlet.
right now.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And really I think it's a good thing because it's
is
making us all like work harder. Like, how can we make it a much more efficient process? So I think it's making us all accountable, but it's also reminding us all the time, like when you approach things with AI, you've got to do it knowing, always applying like the privacy filter, the security filter over the top of it. But yeah, I think it's moving really quick. And
For us, it's a tool to help our brokers
yeah.
earn more in a less stressful way and to attract other brokers from other brokerages because, what we're building is exclusive to us. We're not sharing it. We're not licensing it.
Yeah.
So it's combining that with what you have and other platforms in the market. It's amazing. It's pretty good.
I mean, what you've seen really is you've seen a gap. You've seen a gap in the market, or you've seen like a frustration.
Yeah.
And you've met it. You've filled it by the technology that you've put in place. So of course, unless everybody else is out there doing the same thing, you're bringing something to market that everybody's going to want.
Yeah. Biggest challenges that you're finding with AI?
Biggest challenges. I wish we could move a lot quicker with some of this stuff.
Okay.
Biggest challenges you're finding or you think a broker or brokerage might face adapting AI into their ecosystem?
I think some of it is the human aspect. I think that what we've seen, some brokers have really embraced it. They really have. They were in, a few years ago, they've been trying it out. But there are some who I think are very nervous, either because they don't understand where to start or there's concerns around security and privacy. And I totally understand that. So I think for those brokers who have that concern or, they don't know what steps to take, start small.
Yeah.
Start
Well, I
small,
was one
get
of them, right?
familiar.
I was one of them. I'm old school broker. A lot of old school brokers out there. You hate change. You don't want to change the things the way you're doing
Now
things.
you're like the king of change.
Now,
You become the king of change.
exactly. So
love
you
change.
start at very little, and then you learn and learn, and then. But my advice to all the brokers is you have to adapt. So we have to adapt to the new changes, and implement this into our transactions because you need it. The old way of doing things slowly is going to wind away, and you won't be able to do things because the requirements are going to be that you know this stuff.
Yeah.
So the more you spend time and the more you learn it and you adapt to it and do it, it's actually fun.
Yeah,
So
it is fun.
I mean, you mentioned it earlier on as well. So things like Gold Rush. So anything which is a marketing campaign, that's a really good place to start.
Yeah, it's great.
Because you can use AI to help you, look through your database, determine like who maybe your potential leads are. And then you can use campaigns for marketing to send out, just reminders, touch points with clients that you've had historically to say, hey, have you ever considered this? Or the rate that you're at is this, maybe now is the time to look for something else. Like that's a really good place to start because AI is great at wading through huge amounts of data and pulling out the stuff that you need that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Instead of writing phone numbers down or instead of writing appointments down, I'm going to call this guy this time. And you have tasks, you have reminders, you have campaigns for all sorts of things. And that's why it's helping brokers to actually win more business and then do some of these deals that are not available to everybody else because nobody's doing it. So if you do it, if you start doing this kind of thing, you're going to be busier.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting. Having said that, I was having a chat with someone, I think a couple of weeks ago, and we're talking about technology and all this. I think as I was prepping to get an AI expert on the show, and we're chatting, and I think she mentioned that, AI and tech has advanced so much, it's making our lives so much easier, but also so much harder. And to which I said, I miss the days before cell phones. But when you think about it, you realize that mankind existed. Life was what it was. It seemed challenging. Work got busier. So we introduced technology to help make jobs easier and life easier. So technology came in, email made communication quicker, cell phones made communication quicker. Life got a little easier. But then everyone realized, well, now we have technology doing all of this stuff that we were doing before. We don't have to do it. What are we going to do with the rest of the time? We have to maximize our time. So we added more things on our plate. So now, again, everyone's busy and stressed. Well, we have to progress technology to take care of some of this to make it easier. So technology comes, chews away at the plate a little. Mankind has a little more free time, realizes it's a waste of time. Let's be more productive, adds to the plate. Now AI's coming to take care of some of that, make some things easier, but we're always talking about how it's going to allow us to do more. So technology helps us get more productive, gets more busy,
but still,
but life never actually gets simpler. It just gets
but I still
more in a different kind of way. It's interesting.
I still think you need a reset.
We need a reset.
You're too much way into technology. Take a day, go to the beach, or do some things in the nature. Water flowers.
Let AI take care of the day for you.
Let AI send your campaigns, right?
I honestly, I think that's the key thing is knowing the balance. And I mean, if you look back 20 years, before the age of like iPhones and Blackberries and smartphones, like you weren't available 24/7.
No.
And I think sometimes we have to do a little bit of a reset on that to say, AI can be super helpful. Like technology can be really, really helpful in helping you be more organized, but it's never going to take away the human connection. It's never going to take away relationship building. And I think we have to be accountable as well to know, okay, this using AI for this is great, but at some point I'm going to step away. I'm going to do relationship building. I'm going to call people. I'm going to network. I'm going to go out and do things in my community. I think all of that's really important.
Yeah, whether you're using AI in your industry like brokerages, they need to know who's behind this. Somebody has to be behind this transaction, right? Whether it's AI, maybe your borrowers don't even see you and they're emailing you and using AI and going back and forth, but they need to know who's in charge, and that human element is very, very important. And I see that in day-to-day transactions of our company. Deals get done because they know me, or they know Steven, or they know our agents. If they don't know and they think that they're dealing with some AI, half of that transaction is not going to go anywhere. So that's why the human element is very important.
Oh, it's trust. It's all about trust. Like sitting down with somebody, having a coffee and a conversation, like you build that trust, that relationship, that's going to last years if you build it right. I mean, AI is never going to be able to do that.
No. That's great, Kate. This is very insightful. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
It
Thank you
sounds
for
like,
your time.
I mean, you're already well on the way with all this stuff. I mean, you're already using AI for all the things that it was built
Yeah,
for.
yeah, we're using a
So
lot.
Well, there's always
it's
something
great.
more. There's always something more. I remember back when growing up as a kid, we didn't have cell phones yet.
Yeah.
You know, the cell phone.
Buy the pager. Yeah,
See, I didn't. I didn't. I got my first cell phone when I was like 15, 16. But before that, you know, you'd meet someone at the park. You want to play with them. You'd write down their home phone number on your hand. You made a plan to meet somewhere. If the person didn't show up, you'd wait for an hour. Then you'd go home. If you can't connect with them within 24 hours, you think they may have died. Now, you show up. They're 5 minutes late. They're not responding to your text in 24 seconds. You think they're dead.
Yeah.
Like times really, really have changed, and it's continuing to change. And you know, looking forward to bringing more of the AI capabilities into our brokerage. Again, to be able to complement and help our agents serve their clients in a better way, de-stress a little, free up some time to either relax or do more if they want to. That's their choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an exciting time. You know, here's to winning the AI wars.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
All right.
that's right. So
Great. So we're seeing a lot of interesting stuff in the market, both on the res side and commercial. On the residential, again, the prices seem to have close to, if not bottomed out, because there hasn't been much downward movement in the last couple of months for the most part. Commercial also seems to have bottomed out. The rates are still good, but that might be changing. What are you seeing in the market now from your side, Sale?
What I'm seeing, great prices. However, buyers are still hesitant. They think it's going to go way more down, or they're not just sure. But what I'm seeing is that prices have significantly declined to the levels that are really, really affordable, especially for first-time home buyers. If they want to move a bit outside the city, still they think $1 million mark. The average benchmark is $1 million. It used to be 1.3 million, so we're talking 30% decline. However, still $1 million could be far for some families to start buying detached homes. But if you drive to, let's say, Durham or Brampton or Peel, you can find properties as low, freehold as low as $600,000 to $700,000. And
Which is amazing because we haven't seen that in those areas for several years.
Several years. Everything is $1 million plus. Now we're looking at 700, 800,000. Condo market is lagging significantly. I think yesterday I saw from a friend of mine who posted a 3-bedroom condo in Don Mills and Finch. That's North York. $499,000. It's an older condo. Wow. It's an older condo.
The maintenance is probably like $1,500 a month there.
$1,500 a month. It's about 1,400 square feet. But come on, guys. Again, $499,000. These prices did not exist. Nothing below $700,000. Now we have condos starting from $400,000. It's affordable pricing, I think, for everyone that's in the market. So if you have the means, I think, in my opinion, if you have down payment, if you have the means, don't pay rent. Right now, you can purchase something with a decent price and pay your own mortgage.
So basically, someone that is waiting, has the down payment, has the ability, but they're waiting for the right moment. You're suggesting let's not wait because
let's not wait.
We don't know what we don't know. We've seen the market go down. We've seen it kind of stabilize for a bit.
Yeah.
And the rates are good. I mean,
both ways. I think if the prices are going up, you don't want to catch. There's never a perfect moment to make a decision.
Wait till it starts bidding wars
exactly.
Again.
Some people that wait a lot. I had people on the other side when things were getting bad and people the rates were going up, and people would think, okay, let me wait until I reach the peak and then sell. No, because you never know. That peak could be in one day. Yeah. You could wake up the next day. Give it a little bit space. While you think it's at the top, then you sell. The same thing is on the other side now. So if you're thinking about buying, don't wait until you want to hit the bottom. You never know where that is. But you might wake up one day and say that $499,000 condo that you're looking for, now you have 7 offers. Now you have 8 offers. So take advantage now.
I still think that if you're a first-time home buyer, or if you're, let's say, recently married couple and you're buying something long-term for the next 15, 20 years,
100%.
It's never a bad time to buy. You're always going to be good. What I would say is if you're an investor looking to flip in a year,
probably that's not for you now. Yeah.
Now, what about everyone always talks, including us, about buying. What about selling? We're seeing a lot of homes that are on the market stay there for a long period of time. And, you know, what I'm getting a sense of is that they're just priced at last year's pricing.
Absolutely.
And some sellers, the ones that are selling, have come to terms with the fact that they're not going to get what they would have gotten a year ago.
Depends on
Right?
the
So they lower the
property.
price. If it's priced right, it sells.
So 50% of the listings right now, the reason they're not selling is that sellers are stuck with old prices.
Yesteryear,
They
yeah.
cannot adapt to the new changes. It's hard for them to realize if a guy sold for $700,000 more than what I'm listing right now, why am I changing my price? It's impossible. I want to get back that 700,000. They have to come to realization that it's not happening. So if you price your property right, you will sell your property now. The reason it's very slow in terms of selling and sellers have a tough time is that they're still thinking 2-3 years ago where the prices were really up here.
Well, Sam, we got the phone call today, right? Where, client was selling her property, was supposed to close yesterday, and the seller has a shortfall of 24K where now they can't close a deal. So that happens when
That's actually a really good.
that happens when the mortgage amount is a little bit higher, or there's closing costs and fees that weren't being taken into account.
So let's say somebody bought a home a few years ago at the peak, or they refinanced at the peak,
Yeah.
and their property was worth $1 million back then, and they got 80%, 800,000.
And today it's
now
only
the
worth
property's
700K.
worth 750. If they sell today, they have to pay 50K they still owe out of pocket to
the
their
bank.
lender, to the bank, plus real estate fees, plus legal fees. So
Exactly.
they might not be able to bring
Just-
it down.
yeah.
to
That's
today's
part,
real
yeah,
estate
exactly.
That's the other problem.
That's part of that 50% I'm telling you. Sellers are not able to adjust price. Some people think that, oh, the sellers are greedy. They're still thinking about old prices. Yes, there are some sellers that still have the old mentality that I need this much for my house because it sold in 2022 for this much. That's part of it.
Others
there
just
are-
can't.
Others just
They just
can't
can't 'cause they're gonna have to owe 100, 200K
exactly. So their
out of pocket
mortgages
that they
are
can't.
at the value of the property.
Now, in Ontario and BC, there's full recourse mortgages. So that means that you have to pay the bank or the lender the full amount of the mortgage that you've borrowed.
Absolutely.
In the US, they're non-recourse mortgages. So when 08 happened, you could just give the keys to the bank and say,
Foreclosure versus
Foreclosure,
power of
yeah.
sale.
here, we can't do that. So
You
people
still owe. They'll go after you
They're
personally.
They go after you
stuck.
personally.
They'll
Yes.
garnish
They'll
your
garnish your
wages. They
wages.
won't allow the closing to happen. You won't be able to sell. Then you get sued by the buyers as well. So it's a whole.
So there you see
shitstorm
this.
if you don't do it
That's why you
properly.
see the snag.
That's why you'll
stagnation, right?
see it take a longer time for the inventory to get offloaded because of mainly
That's
that
another
reason.
reason why I believe that we don't have much room for prices to go down, because a lot of the people that want to sell, they can't sell for any lower. The
Yeah.
deals won't close.
banks won't
At
allow
some
it.
point, they're so
Yeah,
leveraged.
at some point
that
you're so leveraged that you're going to leave the
Buyers
keys.
are
and
just
there's
going to wait,
yeah.
and eventually they're going to stop waiting because they realize what we're saying is we're likely close, if not at the bottom,
Yes, I think so.
and
you
it's
know,
time to get back in.
another
if you
interesting,
can.
another interesting point is, right now there are people that are below the water in terms of prices and the mortgage value, and they have stopped making payments. So the banks, in reality, own these properties. They can force a power of sale and take possession. However, they're declining to do so because the banks themselves know that it's a hard market to be able to sell properties. So right now, actually, we have people living in these homes are for free. They're living for free. They're not paying any mortgages. And the banks are waiting for the right moment to take possession. You got to remember, when the power of sale happens, banks take possession. They cannot just wait. Once you have that possession, you have to put the property on the market and you have to sell. So they have judgments, default judgments against these borrowers, but they're not pursuing possession because they're waiting for the market to take a turn. Rebound.
Yeah, very true. What are you seeing on the commercial side?
I think from what I was reading, commercial real estate has bottomed for the most part in terms of like strip plazas, land, all of that stuff.
And we're seeing a lot of activity in terms of
we're seeing-
investors looking for that.
And right now, actually, if you let's say if you bought a piece of land 4 or 5 years ago, you got the permits, you did the developments, you did all of that stuff, all of that is worth nothing. There is no development premium anymore, just because no one's building. So you can get fully permitted land for very cheap right now.
Yeah, it's a great. That's a great time to invest in. If you're a real estate investor savvy, looking to invest in commercial, or as we have several clients that have come to us that were looking to lease a new property, and instead of that, their lease came up, they decided we're going to buy. Now's a good time because as an owner-occupier of the space, there's some great products and rates available on the commercial side through AAA lenders. If you're investing into a cash flow property where you're renting out most or all of it, as long as you've got some good tenants, again, there's also some great opportunities there right now.
Well, the developments have moved from residential to commercial right now.
Yeah.
So in terms of building infill construction, that means custom homes, new subdivisions, condos, that has absolutely diminished. So talking to our lender partners like Hillmount yesterday, we were talking, there's absolutely zero new specs application in terms of permits. They are not receiving anything. Before, they used to receive 10 to 15 applications a month for new construction, whether it's custom homes or subdivisions. Now they're not receiving anything.
Maybe the odd one or two custom home, but
Instead,
very,
they're
yeah.
receiving a lot of applications and permits for commercial, offices, retail,
or purpose-built
mixed use.
rentals,
Yes.
MLI Select program.
Yeah, that's actually a lot.
Because
right now.
the investors have kind of moved from getting, like, say, 10, 15 condos, which are not cash flowing the best, to now just buying commercial real estate. And it's a good time.
And what Stephen was mentioning with the multi-residential, or 6 units or 8 units, storefronts, all sort of stuff. So commercial is right now is when investors are focusing on in terms of development.
Now, we rarely do this, we rarely talk about rates, but we are seeing some movement in the bond markets. Might not be great sign for the foreseeable future on the fixed side. Usha, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I mean, I watch bond yields every single day, 3-4 times a day, because that's our business. The 10-year U.S. and Canadian bond yields have been skyrocketing over the last week or two, mainly due to the war in the Middle East and inflationary pressures kind of all around. So what we're seeing is that the 5-year and the 3-year fixed rates are starting to go up on the institutional side, and private side is going to follow suit as well once institutions are kind of going.
So now's a good time to get pre-approved. If
If you need to get
fix that rate,
pre-approved,
fix the rate now.
now's a good time. And then also
Refinance now. If you're a few months away from your renewal, it might be worth the breakage penalty to get a lower rate.
the prime rate hasn't changed over the last couple of months, but what we're seeing is if inflation does creep up, then they might have to increase the prime rate, which will change a lot of stuff. But again, it's going to be a quarter bip or maybe 2.5%, if anything.
Still don't see that
slowly.
happening
Well,
this year.
U.S. held their
U.S.
Yeah,
held
and
it.
there was a lot of talk about the U.S. Feds increasing the rate.
Yeah, there was a lot of
But
speculation.
it's up in the air. It's up in the air. We don't know.
Yeah.
But regardless, conclusion is, I think, in my opinion, for me, if I had some money and I was thinking of getting into housing, I could afford the payment, I will do it right now. I would start buying.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wait any longer. As long as you can afford the payment. Yeah. Yes, if you're going to overextend yourself, how we saw in the 2010s and all the way to 2022s, people were just buying. I was asking people, why don't you buy something instead of renting? Makes sense. If you're going to pay $2,500 or $3,000 rent, why don't you just buy a place and pay the same amount to your mortgage? That seems really reasonable when you have a discussion. But when the borrowers go out and they buy something totally different and now they're in a $5,000 payment, don't do that. That's overextending yourself. But if you're paying $2,500 to $3,000 rent, I think that's a $600,000 mortgage.
Yeah.
So
it's a really good
there
call.
are a lot of $600,000 properties right now out there. Buy one, pay 5%, 10% down, and own your home.
We're actually going to see that scenario in a little bit when we interview our mortgage agent, Jess, about her experience as a first-time home buyer at a young age. So stay tuned, guys. So now we're joined by Jess Singh, one of our very own mortgage agents, to tell us about her experience buying her first home at a very young age. So Jess, today you're 27 years old and you've been working as a mortgage agent for about 2 years. Before that, you were in the car sales industry, and at a very young age, you decided to buy your first home. So take us back to when you made that decision to buy instead of rent or live with a family, and what made you say, okay, I'm going to do this?
All right. So going back years, what ended up really happening was that I was in certain circumstances that made me have to work full time, be in university, and being in the auto industry, I was doing a lot of finance. So I was taking in a lot of applications, and I would see, like, I would have to ask clients, like, are you renting or do you have a mortgage? So I started seeing what certain clients' mortgage payments were. And I'm like, well, this is really similar to what I'm paying in rent. So that was kind of like the light bulb that kind of struck to me and said, all right, it's time to buy. And yeah, from there, I had a lot of people that I worked with that were older than me at that time. And I kind of just brought it up to them. I'm like, guys, like, what do you think? And they're like, Jess, like, you're working. They asked me what my savings were. They started asking me all these questions. And I felt like I was filling in an application to buy a car at that point. But I didn't realize how beneficial it would have been to me. And the only thing that kind of lit me up was doing somebody's finance application to submit it to a lender. And I'm like, okay, what am I doing? Like, I'm paying somebody else's mortgage at this point. But that's what kind of put me on fire
Wow.
to
So
look for a property.
by going through other people's application, credit bureaus, you saw what they're paying for their mortgage payments. You said, hey, I'm pretty much paying that for rent. What am I doing? Let me build equity and value for myself. And you were how old at this time?
I was in my early 20s.
Wow.
Yeah. And I also grew up, like, when I started working, there's one thing my mom said to me. She's like, save your money, invest into a property, then buy whatever you want. Bought my first house. Then she's like, buy another one. She's not letting, I'm like, Mom, I want to go buy a purse. She's like, no, buy another one. So, like, I've been hearing it since, like, the day I started working. Save your money, buy a house. Save your money, buy a house. And I think, like, during that time, it was a big thing for my family because I was the first woman, you can say, in our, literally in our bloodline, our immediate bloodline, to buy our, like, my first house.
That's
First kid, and it was a
amazing.
lot of fun, but it really, really did make me want to learn a lot more. And that's why I'm sitting here today as a mortgage agent.
That's great. So you're a product of immigrants, as am I. Yours came from India, mine came from the former Soviet Union, both uh, old world countries. And, you know, from my friends and family, that's a very typical mentality of old world first generation immigrants is own your home,
Yeah.
buy, save up. And they've done a good job instilling that in you. You're 27 now, you bought it 2 years ago, you must have been in your early 20s. What was that like? How did your family react when you said, I'm gonna buy my own home? You know, tell us about that, the thoughts, the feelings. It probably was a mixture of fear and excitement at the same time.
Yeah. So when I decided that I was going to actually purchase, my circumstance, it was just me and my mom at that time. So
Wow.
we were actually renting, and you know, I always took care of the rent, but I guess it was just kind of like, okay, now I have to take this step to, like, this is what I want to do. I want to build my own equity. I want to start building my own stuff. And I think being around people that were older than me, I literally was working with people like my dad and my grandpa's age at that time. So, like, just seeing them and that, and just, like, kind of learning from their experiences. I used to hear about it a lot. Like, they would be kind of like my role models and be like, okay, Gurjas, like, you have to do this for yourself. You're working, save this. You're making this much money, put it on the side. So, like, I did have that guidance, like, from my family. Like, I wasn't taught how to really build wealth. It was just kind of like, go work, save your money. That's it. I didn't really know. I didn't even know how to do my taxes. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I was so confused. And just going from there, like, I decided to speak to a mortgage agent that, like, I had to trust people I didn't know because I couldn't really go back to my family for, like, for advice because they didn't really know what kind of advice to give me. So when I started talking to the mortgage agent, started talking to the realtor, I guess, like, my mom started to feel like, oh wow, like, it's finally happening. Like, we're gonna get our own place. And she was a little hesitant at first because she didn't really know how, like, the mortgage process works, which I was really new to as well. But I've always been built, like, I had a lot of the logistics stuff from my mom because she stresses out and kind of like, she's like, oh, you can't trust this person, like, you can't do this, and just
Again,
like,
a very common
yeah.
thing amongst old world immigrants. I mean, my parents, you know, raised me with a lot of skepticism towards the outside world.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
exactly. It's funny though, actually. My dad is born and raised here.
Yeah.
My mom's from India. So I've always had two different sides to see.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's very
So
interesting.
when I was actually buying my house at that time, it was just me and my mom. So my mom's side of the family, it was really new for us to purchase a house and just kind of go from there. But when I told them, they were actually really, really looking forward to me. But I also think everybody was still really scared for me because they're like, yeah, right now you're just paying rent. But when you buy a house, there's more expenses to it.
True.
And we have to buy all these things for our house too. So
True.
just going into that, like, I just feel like that made me hesitant. But then also seeing the people that I was working with, they gave me more motivation. But it was kind of like it was a happy moment, but it was also a stressful moment because I was full-time in university.
Wow.
And I was working full-time at the dealership.
That's a lot
Yeah.
of pressure on a young 20-something-year-old. Good for you for navigating that. I imagine your family was worried that you'd be taken advantage of because you're young, you're a female. There's perception from old world generations on what the world does with that, and you managed to push through. So, tell us about the buying process that you experienced, how you experienced it.
That was really stressful, actually. I was working and I was at uni, so I kind of really didn't have a lot of time to go out. So I would actually, my mom, like our realtor was a family friend at that time, and I would kind of tell him like, "Hey, take my mom. Like, they'll go look at houses." Somehow, my mom ends up in Brantford. So we're in Brampton right now, and renting in Brampton, and she's just one day goes to Brantford with the realtor. I get a call. I'm at the dealership, and she's like, "We have to come. You have to come see this house." So we had everything kind of lined up, but like I was still in the qualification part of things. So like I didn't even know I didn't even know what a pre-approval was. Like I was just told like, okay, go look at houses. So whatever, she likes the house, and my realtor is saying, put in an offer, put in an offer. The biggest mistake that I made at that time was not really, and it's really funny because as a finance manager at that time, the first thing I should have thought about was the finance, but I got so excited to look for the house. So, like,
Which is normal. It's an emotional
yeah.
experience.
So we actually ended up, we wanted to put an offer in on the house, but one of my friends, I'm surprised that I actually gave him a call. I was like, "Hey, listen, like I'm like my mom really likes this house. The price is really good. I'd rather have a lower mortgage payment, pay more in my car expenses to commute, and
Yeah.
like that's just easier for me." And he's like, "Yeah, do it." But he's like, "Did you get a pre-approval?" I was like, "What's that?" I had no idea. Like, like when I work with like structuring deals for cars and stuff, like we don't
There's
we
no
just
pre-approval
yeah, there's no
process.
pre-approval. We just kind of like, is your credit good, not good, just submit it. Declined, then if it's declined, take it to another bank. Like it was just
Yeah.
like that's just how it was. So I had no idea like there was anything to do with qualifications and whatnot. So then my realtor connected me with a mortgage agent. And when I tell you guys, like being a mortgage agent now, and like I'm like hand holding like all our first time home buyers because of what I went through, my mortgage agent literally said, "Gorgeous, what's your income? What's your credit?" That's all he asked me.
He didn't collect income
No.
docs or pull the credit bureau.
Nothing.
Just a hypothetical
Nothing. He just
conversation.
asked me these. He didn't even have a conversation with me. He just asked me these two questions. He's like, "All right, give me a day. I'll call you back."
Okay.
So here I am, like, I'm like, okay, well, we want to put in an offer on this house, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to secure financing. I was so young at that time too, and I was also I was new to the deal. Like I just transitioned into my like the financing role, so just at that time I was really confused. I'm like, will I even qualify? I had no idea what a private mortgage was. I had no idea what like a conventional mortgage. Like I had no idea what it was, right? And he calls me the next day. He's like, okay, can you send me your driver's license and can you send me one pay stub?
Okay.
So I send that to him, and he's like, I sent him the property we were looking at, and he's like, yeah, you can buy it. That's all he said to me. So call my realtor. Here, me being me, I have a very, this is one thing I changed now, but I used to trust everybody blindly. So he told me this, and I was like, all right, sick, get to buy the house. I was super happy. Call my mom, like, all right, the mortgage guy said we're good.
Okay.
So here we are. I call my realtor. I'm like, okay, put in an offer. He's asking me, is like, what am I putting in the offer at? And I'm like, wait, like, you're asking me, like, I don't really know like how this works. I didn't know there was like negotiations. Like I had no I was so new to this. When my parents, like when we had our house then, my like we were with my grandparents. So my grandparents bought the house. I was so young, like I didn't really know any of this, what the mortgages, how all this works. So call him and he's like, okay, well, we're gonna put in an offer. And I'm like, okay. He's like, what should I put it at? I'm like, I don't know. Like, like
So did he advise you at that point?
yeah,
or
like
what?
he kind of he's like, okay, we're gonna put it in at this. I was like, okay, that's what it's listed at, and then he put it in at the put it in a little bit lower actually.
Okay.
That's when he did educate me because one of my friends was like, which I was like, don't go blindly into something. He's like, you need to know what you're going into. So he put in the offer. The offer got accepted. The
Now you have
offer
to get the
got
financing.
yeah. So we gave the. I didn't even know about the like. I wasn't even
Was there-
informed about the deposit. Like we had to put a deposit.
Wow.
Like I had no idea what was
So you have to
going on.
scramble. Was there a condition of financing clause?
No.
Oh my goodness. Was it?
It was a firm,
was a firm-
deal, and I didn't even know that was like available
Okay.
because when I called the realtor, I just said to him, I got approved. Like the guy
What?
said I can get the house. Like
He didn't give you any pre-approval document?
no,
nothing. Like that?
nothing.
Okay.
And whatever, I find out that the house is now like it's ours. Like okay, and I got to give the deposit, and I'm like, okay, well you didn't really tell me because then I had to move money around. Like I wasn't
Right.
ready to like.
Right.
Like I was ready, but like I had to do a bunch of things in order for me to give the
You have
deposit.
to stop what you're doing for the next 2 days and get that deposit check.
Yeah, well,
I
I
get that.
think I stopped a whole week to be honest.
That's fair.
But so yeah, we put in the offer, everything's good, and I'm like, okay, this is my mortgage agent, the realtor and the mortgage agent. We're talking. When my mortgage agent asked me for a few other docs, and then I did not hear from him for 3 weeks.
How'd you come across this mortgage agent? Someone
My
recommended him?
realtor referred
Okay.
referred me to him. And like me and my mom both went to his office, and after we did the firm deal, and I did not hear from him.
Wow.
Our closing was so we bought in we bought in February. Our closing was in April.
Okay. Oh, that's fine.
End
That's
of
normal.
February, closing was beginning of April.
So you gave yourself basically a month. Just over a month.
I did, like they said, it's like you got approved, you should be fine. So,
Wow.
and also like our rent situation then was like I gave the notice to them and I was like, well, like we don't want to renew for the next year. So like I was just kind of
Okay.
timelining everything. And I could I was so nervous. Like I'm like something's just sus. Like something's wrong. Like I don't know what's going on. I used to blow up his phone. So like when clients are
I don't blame you.
like I was really like
Wow.
I was concerned, right? And then there was a lot of money that had to be moved. And then when it was literally 2 weeks before closing and he said, well, this money has to be in this account for this many days. And I'm like, well, we only have 2 weeks left. Like you should have told me this the day I closed. So it was a lot of back and forth. That's when I started to realize that there is a major disconnect with what I guess I was dealing with at that time. And I couldn't even imagine like what other people were going through at that time too. But I mean, at that specific moment, I was like, I don't think we're going to be able to close. ChatGPT did not exist then. So I was literally.
And you didn't know ChatGPT Steve at that point.
I didn't know exactly. So I would go to school. Like we're closing in April. That's like exam time. So
Oh my goodness,
I
that's a
was-
perfect storm.
I was literally like studying for my final exams. And you know what's really funny? I was studying psychology. So like going through this situation, I'm like, something's even more wrong. Like the way this guy's acting. So it's like overanalyzing every situation that I could possibly do.
Wow.
And
Sounds stressful.
it was so stressful. And then a week before our closing, I get a call from him. Like, I don't know anything about mortgages. I'm
Right.
trusting this guy, holding in all my emotions because if I tell my mom something, I know she's going to stress out even more. The whole family's going to create a whole, it's just going to be a whole topic where it's going to stress me out even
And that's
more.
not gonna help.
And I'm going to stress everybody else out because I put all this money on the line. And a week before, I get a call and he's like, okay, you guys are approved with Scotiabank. I'm sending you the docs.
Okay, that's good.
And I'm like, okay. No sign up call, nothing. At this point, like I open the documents, see my name, see a rate, and I see what the mortgage amount is, the closing date. For mortgage purposes, a week prior to actually before we got the docs, he actually called saying we need to put your mom on the mortgage. So
Okay.
I'm like, what's going
So
on? Yeah, like,
you weren't approved when he said you were.
yeah. So,
You can't have just one pay stub. He
and
wasn't doing his
then,
job.
so I don't like, like I didn't know what was going on. And, it was a lot at that time. And
Yeah.
when I got those documents, I was like, it was a little sense of relief, but I just didn't know what would happen next. But then the only hope I had was like, all right, documents being generated is a good thing, because at the dealership world, when the lender releases the documents, the car's ready to be delivered, and then you
Right.
send it. So I'm like, all right, same process. This is what I think it's going to be. Sign the docs, no sign up call. All I saw was the monthly payment. I saw the rate, and I'm like, all right, this seems decent. I can
Okay.
afford the payment, whatever. I signed it.
Jeez.
So closing day is that same week, and I am literally, movers are booked. Everything is booked. My friends are ready to, like, all right, let's go. And this guy is nowhere to be found. Like, my mortgage agent is like nowhere to be found. Like, we don't know what's happening. Like, the lawyer has no idea what's happening.
The lawyer doesn't even know. They didn't get instructed
Like,
yet.
the lawyers did get, like, I did sign with the lawyers, but apparently something happened the day of. I still till this day
God.
don't know what happened, but we didn't get the keys to our house till 7 o'clock at night that day
Wow,
that
that's
we
late.
were the day we were
And no one was
moving
in
in.
communication with you to explain what's going on.
The
to
mortgage
let you know what
agent was
happened.
communicating with the lawyer, but was not communicating with me. So
Wow.
I was a very hot-headed person at that time.
I think that situation would turn the calmest person into someone hot-headed.
And I literally, like, go to this guy's office and he's not there. So I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. I feel like I just got scammed. And I'm like, I just like
Scary.
thinking all these things. And, and I did pay this guy too as well. Like, I've paid him up front, and and at that time I also didn't realize what I was paying for. Like, I was just so confused. Like, the process was just a whole mess. But the day we got our keys, that, like, my whole life was just kind of like relieved. But anything after that, like, that guy was nowhere to be found.
Wow.
Like, I still till this day don't know where he is. Did not, like, like, I get it. You ghosted me. I don't know, something happened, but at least say, hey, congratulations, you got your
Yeah.
keys, like,
yeah.
whatever. It's at least say
Sorry for
that.
the hassle.
Nothing, none of that. And
Wow.
like, I did actually refer, as that process was happening, when he told me I got approved, I actually did refer him a few people as well, saying, like, this guy, like, literally one conversation told me I can go buy a house. Like, and I'm, like, friends with all my uni girls, and I'm like, guys, like, if you're looking to buy a house, like, this guy got me approved, like, just go and talk to him. I felt really bad after, but I mean, it was a lot. And I feel like, if, like, growing up, like, in school, they don't teach us these things.
Nope.
They don't.
Sadly.
They don't
They
teach
really
us
should.
anything. And I feel like if I knew what to do with my money when I started working when I was 16, I probably would have been in a better position. And all my money, I would make money instead of my checkings account. I have no idea what else to do with it, right? So I realized that there was a major disconnect, because nobody, when we go to university, it's like the transition to middle school to grade 9 again. So going to university, it's like same thing, grade 9 again. So then I felt like this is the same exact thing. Like, every situation is teaching you different things. And that's when I realized, I'm like, kids my age at that time have no idea. Like, if they wanted to buy, like, we all hear buy a house, but nobody knows how to buy a house. Yet alone, no one even knows what taxes are at this point. Like, we're all just kind of all over the place. But that's how I got
Sounds
my
like a
first
nightmarish
house.
experience. Luckily, it went through at the
Yeah.
11th hour, but taught you a lot. And I guess from that, is that what kind of made you think, hey, I could do better than this broker did, and start exploring entering the mortgage space? Did that experience have an influence in saying, I want to help people avoid this kind of situation?
I was really invested into the auto industry then.
Okay.
So for me, it was more so, I honestly, the situation was such a wreck for me that I didn't even want to look into mortgages
You don't
ever.
even
Like,
think
I
of-
didn't even
you
want
don't wanna
to.
think
I'm
of the
like,
mortgage
this
ever
guy's
again.
job is, like, I don't even know what it is, what he's doing, and I got rubbed off, like, really badly. I'm like, this is not for me. Like, I never thought about mortgages like that. I didn't even know what mortgages were at that point. Like, I didn't even know I needed a pre-approval. But for me, what got me into mortgages is actually it's a whole other story. But I just think that situation shaped me to who I am as a mortgage agent today. Because when my first time home buyers were calling me,
You
I
tell
don't
them everything.
care. I don't care what time of the day it is.
Good for you.
I will answer your call.
Good. And you'll explain to them all these different caveats that they might not know. And you know what it is? And Rushi, maybe you could add to this. In our space, in the real estate buying and refinancing space, there's a lot of players. There's the realtor, there's the mortgage broker, there's the lawyer, there's the lender, there's different players. And from my observations, I've seen, and this is human nature a lot of the times, it's called the bystander effect. So we see a situation, whatever's not specifically our role, we know that someone else will take care of it. We let that happen. So as a mortgage agent, our role, right, by definition, is the mortgage. Our role is not to explain land transfer tax. Our role is not to explain the home inspection. Our role is not to explain the deposit that's due upon signing a purchase and sale agreement. That's the realtor's role. That's the lawyer's role for, land transfer tax potentially. But what I find is the best agents, and I know that you guys do this all the time, take the time to explain the full picture to the borrower, even if it's not a first-time home buyer and it's their 10th home or they're refinancing for the 3rd time and they've done this. And we know that in the past they should have been explained these things. We don't rely on the past and we don't rely on the others. If the others will do their job, great. Then this person's going to get explained the same thing 2-3 times. Doesn't hurt. So you'll go over the land transfer tax amount to make sure they have enough money at the day of closing. You'll go over the deposit. So great, you're going to make an offer. You are pre-approved. Here's your pre-approval document. You're good to go firm, or based on the type of income you have, based on the area, based on the property, don't go firm. Give it a 5-day conditional financing clause and make sure you have X% available for a deposit when the offer is accepted, right? You go through this, you guide them through it, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, clients always ask us about all sorts of things in terms of the lawyers, how deposits are structured, closing costs, all that stuff. And you have to know everything.
Yeah. While it's not our job, it's still our job.
Yeah.
Our job is to facilitate the whole process of a client from A to Z. We want to make sure that they're going to end up without problems in the home that they bought, or get the refinancing in time, right, before their current mortgage renews or whatever the case is. And when doing so, it's again, although it's not technically our job, it just ensures a smoother process and better customer service. And by relying on the realtor, we don't know if that realtor will remember or forget to do it. We don't know if the lawyer is going to go over everything that they should. Not everyone, as we see, does their job. So sometimes it's on us to take it upon ourselves.
Yeah. Even with the land transfer tax, I was a first-time home buyer. I didn't even know I was eligible for the rebate.
So that was a nice surprise.
I was like, okay, cool. And the lawyer told me that. But even like talking to our clients, and when I think that's what Clover is really, really like known for. Like anybody who's called us like has said good things about us explaining the process. And I think this is why this is my home. Like I know this is why this is my home, because I feel like we are there for each and one of our clients as if like they're our own. And I think that's huge, because for me, when I was dealing with my mortgage, I know I got robbed. The guy charged me like 10+K to do my approval.
Insane.
My approval was with Scotia, and like now I think about it, we do mortgages. I'm like, wow,
That's not right.
I got robbed.
That's
I
not
don't
right.
even know what I got. So now that I sit down and think about it, I'm like, I was one of the people that got taken advantage of, and I don't want anybody to go through what I went through, because I was scrambling for those funds after, and it was a lot. Like when my family was stressing about that extra expense, I get where it was coming from, but I didn't know that I was paying additional costs for no reason. And I feel like nowadays there's so much going on, and I feel like you need to actually be able to build rapport with your mortgage agent or your realtor. And if you don't have that, then I would not suggest working with them. Like you need to make sure the trust is there.
So what being a mortgage agent level 2 now, you've closed a ton of mortgage files. You've dealt with many, many different clients in different situations and circumstances. Knowing now what you know now, what would you have advised your early 20-year-old self, or what do you advise, top 3 or 5 things that you'd advise first-time home buyers on?
I would definitely research, like do your research into what you are looking to purchase, but affordability.
Mhm.
Because the first thing that I think is very, very important is the pre-approval. And that was the last thing I did. So I would definitely say that's the first thing that you should look into, because if you yourself are looking at, you fall in love with this house. It's like this. I used to say this to all my auto clients too. Why, like, you know your credit scores in the 400s. You're going to come to me and you walk in and you're looking at a Benz. The guy comes up to me and says to me, all right, Francesca, I want this car. My credit score is 400 and I work cash. I look at him and I'm just like, do you want me to do a pre-approval? Because if that's the case, like, you're declined. And I'm just like, I can't do this, right?
So keep the expectations realistic. Be
yeah.
forthcoming with your mortgage agent.
But here's the thing. We as first-time home buyers, at my time, we don't know what's realistic.
Ah, fair.
We actually have no
Great
idea.
point.
So I would have had no idea what was realistic at that point. I myself, all I knew was I was paying like $2,500 in rent, and I'm seeing all these people paying less than $2,500 in mortgage payments, and I was like, what am I doing? That's like what do I have to do to kind of be in that position too? Which is what triggered me. But not everyone's gonna have that. A lot of people just have been saying, all right, build real estate. That's where you make the bet. Like it's just a saying, like anybody that comes to me, okay, buy a house, that's where you make your money. That's the best way to make money. And that's that. There's no other information to it. And especially with the girls that have been with me, they're all younger. Like I had a dance academy, right? Like I had girls that were younger than me, much younger than me. And I always say to them, like, I'm not your mom, but I can guide you guys through situations that taught me. So when one of them came up to me and said, I want to buy a house, and I said to her, I'm like, do your research, get a pre-approval. And she literally said to me, she's like, what is that? So I feel like there's not enough information out there, and not a lot of people talk about it, because like our parents, like they're immigrants here, they bought their house. We never talked to them on how they bought their house. We kind of like, it was never a conversation in our household.
Yep.
So I don't think it's a conversation in many, many households on how to buy a house. And I don't even think it's like a conversation that would just randomly come up either, right? So
But important things to learn and still
yeah.
on children. That at least now we know that that's the case.
Yeah.
And with all the
Yeah.
information available online through experts like ourselves, there really shouldn't be an excuse for someone not to teach this to their kids early on.
Yeah. I agree. And I feel like we would know that now, right? But I still feel like there's so many kids out there that like, I feel like there's more marketing now on like
Yep.
first time home buyers, which we didn't have back in the days. Like I didn't even know like the first time home buyers pro. I never heard about it, right?
Yep.
So I feel like now the marketing is so much better. And I feel like that kind of triggers a lot more information to put out there. But I still think there's a big gap. Like I don't think first-time home buyers really realize what the actual process is. And a lot of our clients here, when they're applying for a mortgage or applying for a pre-approval, like the first conversation they have with me is, oh, I just saw something online that, intrigued me, first-time home buyer, but I don't know the process. So I feel like
a lot of our role
yeah.
is to educate.
I think that's one of the biggest things that I learned from buying my house to being a mortgage agent today, is to make sure they're fully educated on what they're getting into.
Very good. Rushi, what are some of the things that you recommend to first-time home buyers, or some of the red flags to watch out for?
Yeah, I mean, everything that Jess kind of said, but
What she said.
no, but honestly, yeah, like education is key, and you really want to hold their hand through the whole process. Like make sure that your phone's always available whenever they call, answer every small question that they have. And you know what, that leads to future business. Like just the last week, I got 3 referrals from first home buyers that I've helped out over the last couple of years.
Wow.
And it's just like phone after, and like it's really good, because like the word of mouth really helps grow our business, and it puts us at a level of like excellence that,
And when helping a first-time home buyer, that's their first home.
yeah, it
You're
just
helping
sticks in their brain.
You could either position them for a ability of a lifetime of success or failure.
Yeah.
And if you position them for success, they're going to be thankful.
And they're going to
refer
recommend
their
you to all
friends.
of their friends.
And you've become their trusted real estate financing advisor for potentially generations to come, and you're really helping someone out.
Like,
It's exciting.
We just closed a deal thing last week. The clients were 20 and 19.
Wow.
Yeah, we literally looked
Well,
at
did they
it
have to have parent co-signers?
No,
Gifted down payments?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Gifted down payment.
So there's also rules and regulations around that you need to be aware of, little nuances that may or may not allow someone to use a gifted down payment. And before putting down an offer, you need to. It's our duty to educate the clients.
And again, very thin credit. Job was only like a year or two in tenure. So we both were like, I don't think this is going to get approved. So we made sure that they put a condition of financing. And I already had ready in the back of my mind saying, listen, you're going to have to add your parents as co-signers.
So you already had the backup plan. You pitched it to them ahead of time, saying, depending on what the house value is and location and other nuances, we might be able to approve you, just the two of you, but be prepared to add the parents. Great.
And we got the approval from the insurer. We got the approval from the lender. And I'm like, well, we're off to the races now. We can actually get this thing done.
That's phenomenal.
And they were really relieved though. Like we had a group chat with them, with the client, and the way we were like responding, like it was instant. Like if he wasn't available, like because we know like this guy, like he's so young. Just by looking at the ID, we're like he's so young. But I was really happy. But like when I saw his age, I'm like, damn, like I know what he's going through, but like this is really good for you, right? Like, but it was
That's amazing.
Really
and he was lucky that he had us two to guide him.
Yeah, 100%. So guys, bottom line, if you or someone you know are buying your first home or fifth home or refinancing, work with a professional that's there to help you. Work with a professional that will, if you don't know what to ask, they'll educate you. They'll do the educational job of other parties, of the lawyers, of the realtors. They'll enlighten you in more than just the mortgage. If you're working with someone that's just focused on that mortgage, you might be missing out on some key points that'll come to bite you later on in the process. And furthermore, get a pre-approval document. And if you're not given a pre-approval document, understand why.
Yeah.
Ask the right questions. Don't rush into it. It's an emotional buy, but make sure that you use enough brain power, not just the emotions. It can help you or hurt you long term. Thanks, Jess. That was really insightful. That helps me understand why you're such a good and compassionate mortgage agent, why your borrowers love you, send you gifts and rave reviews. Yeah, that's great. I learn from both of you every day as well. And it's a great team. It's a great team. Thanks for joining us on episode 3 of Mortgages Uncensored by Clover Mortgage. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, our podcast on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, or as we know, x.com now, for more information, for updates. And please comment on this podcast. Let us know what questions you have, what you want to see, what you want to know as a first-time home buyer, some of your grievances. All right, looking forward to seeing you guys again soon. Have a great day.